This is a Bulldog Radio podcast.
It's the MVSP Season 3, Episode 59, almost a big 6-0, Brandon, but what an episode we have for you guys. It's going to be a little bit shorter than usual since we don't have too much to talk about regarding basically everything going on in the sports world now that March Madness is concluding. We got a little bit of opening day talk coming up at the end, as well as the Masters is starting, the biggest week in golf, and some great names are going to be playing in that tournament. But Brandon, why don't we hop right into the Ferris Sports Report? We can talk about golf if we want to start off with that, especially with what they were able to do at the NC4K Classic for the men's and the Cav Classic for the women's. How are they doing, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, they did fantastic. I mean, starting on the men's side for sure. Thomas Hursey, individual champion of the tournament. Nice golf clap in honor of Thomas. Sir. Great performance from him and all the rest of the Bulldogs as well. Overall, a fantastic finish. Overall, third place as a team with I believe 3 top 15 individual placers. So what a great round for them. And I mean, really just saw a lot of great things from that team overall in the momentum regression over that tournament. I mean, we saw a little bit of slip up in round 2, but not necessarily like it was still going downward with the 9 strokes, and then able to even get another stroke in round 3 to finish out at 878, which was only 1 stroke off of second of Malone. And that's why I was talking the regression of we were right there in the driver's seat, just could not get couldn't get the extra stroke to get the tie or the second stroke to get into second. But still, podium, right? Podium is great, especially if you're in Olympic terms. So yeah, it sounded like it was pretty nasty weather down there, but still able to get some golf in, beat a lot of good GLIAC teams and other good and solid programs. And it seems like we're looking at a lot of these score charts, and I mean, we're seeing the same thing. Obviously, a lot of other teams do this, you could see theoretically, but I think that really just shows the testament of this team that we're seeing these better rounds as we go on from a lot of these players. I mean, you see Joshua Jeffers go from a 77 to a 73 from round 1 to round 2. And then even Nathan Kranick, 77 down to a 72, and then a 70 in the final round for 2 under par. That's a fantastic score. And even Thomas at the top was able to improve all 3 rounds. So a lot of great improvement from a lot of these individual players that have really gotten a lot of success for the team.
Yeah, that's crazy just to kind of see the improvement and stuff like that. But when you look at the final cards too, I mean, we were right there with Walsh and Malone to kind of start the round 1, but it was just kind of like that round 2 slip up a little bit from us that brought it down. And then Walsh kind of came played some lights out golf to take the top of the podium, but still a top 3 finish at a really, really competitive Cav Classic is going to be nothing to shake a stick at, and the guys should be really proud of that. And I mean, to see the individual awards that we were able to win and kind of to see just the final scores. I mean, Nathan was tied 6th. I mean, as a guy on the team that's, just on the outside of the top 5 looking in, that's one thing that you really like to see. And, you don't have a whole lot of guys who are really too far down on the player cards at all either. I mean, you got our lowest was Zach Gildner, who tied 32nd. That's still really solid between how many teams was it? Almost 12 teams with 5 guys apiece. So that's, 100, isn't that 100 team or what is 12 times 5? I can't even remember. 60?
12 times 5 is 60.
60, so we almost have all of us in the top half of the, just missing out on all the players on the top half of the whole player field. So really solid performance from all the guys.
Yeah, and like we said on this show many of times, we're not math majors, okay? It takes us a little bit longer. I mean, my
mental math has gone down since like middle school when I wasn't allowed to use a calculator.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like I have struggled times with basic algebra after taking calculus, so I feel like I'm going backwards when it comes to math due to, all this communication stuff we do at college. But, we're still on that grind, baby. Me and Joe are doing some great work. I know Joe's got his internship lined up, and I will have my internship lined up. Cross my fingers by next week so we can make the announcements to you guys where we'll be headed next. But moving on over women's golf as well, finishing very well in the final round. 21 stroke improvement. I mean, same song, second verse when it comes over to the women's side. I mean, Elaine Eldred finishing in the top 20 at 18th overall. Lauren Kemp 39th and Abby Grivell 52nd. And really, you look at such a big field in this tournament. I mean, So many teams, a lot of really good teams.
Yeah, 19 teams.
Colleges total, exactly. And, I mean, we were in a good position of we were making improvements. I mean, we went down from a 46 to a 25. That's an absolutely huge jump. Just the first round got a little bit of a slow start. That's really the only difference because, I mean, when you look, we outshot, I believe, I want to say, I mean, we definitely outshot almost over half the field in the second round. It's just we started off a little bit slower. And that was the really only difference on why we weren't potentially a top 5 team. Because if we would have shaved off about even half the strokes and made it a 335, we would have been around the same spot as around 7 and 8, and that's a huge jump considering how massive this field is. But overall, really good performances across the board. Every single player on our card improved round 1 to round 2, and that's what you love to see because a lot of teams don't actually do that, and that's something that really attests to our squads, and that's really one of the biggest things that helped us do so well at GLIACs last year, is that ability to take a great round, make it even better.
Absolutely, and that's one thing too. Got only a couple more tournaments now, and up until the GLIAC tournament and the national tournament as well. But I mean, you just like to see that improvement, especially coming down to the wire for the end of the season. Like, you know, it's really the sprint that you're coming down to now. I mean, 1 or 2 more tournaments coming up, so there's not a whole lot of time left for you to improve, but to see that we're able to play so well in the second rounds is something that the coaches and the players can really take to heart and understand that they can really make a competitive run for these GLIAC tournaments for both teams, and I think we're going to really be able to either repeat for the men's. I think we have a really good start for it, and the women's were able to make a splash. So
yeah, and I think the biggest thing too is, like we said, the upcoming schedule. Now the women are going to go play the Cav Classic at Canton this next weekend, and
I apologize. The women were on the NC4K Classic.
Yes, correct. So now the women are going to have their shot at the Cav Classic. So maybe get some intel from the men's team about how the course was played last weekend, and the men are going to go to the Bill Blazer Memorial Tournament in Urbana, Ohio, and they will have right around the corner Monday, Tuesday, come right back playing hot at Augusta for the GLIAC Championships, all 3 rounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's going to be so cool to see, and you can actually follow that one live. And I'm really looking forward to that because I know last year me and Joe were watching down the stretch of our dogs taking the dub, and it was stressing me out every single moment. And I was actually coming home from playing a round of golf that day. I went out to one of my local courses. We don't have to judge the score, but I was watching their scores, and I was seeing how well they were doing. So, hey, give me a judge. It was like April. It was my first time out, okay? 45, not terrible for 9. Okay,
hey, not bad. I mean, 45 is pretty solid.
That's pretty solid, but
that's on pace to break 100.
It is, but I gotta dial it in the back 9. I'm struggling, man. That's one of the things I'm cracking down this year. I'm breaking 100, Joe. You're gonna keep me accountable. I'm breaking 100. There we go.
Fist bump. I'll send my regards when I'm in my internship.
Yes, teach me how to golf.
Oh yeah,
like really well. Like I want DeChambeau type scores.
Dude, when we get back, we'll be golfing every day.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
If I'm going to...
We'll have Thomas pull some strings and get us some free rounds of khaki.
Oh, Thomas, if you're listening, hey, I'd love to get a round golf with Thomas in before, because, I mean, that would be super fun to learn from him. I mean, he's one of the best, so why not learn from the best, right? Absolutely. But softball will be not in action today. According to Mother Nature, this game shall not be played, and it was postponed. But they will be playing tomorrow. It's going to be played here. I know it's confusing. We're playing here, but it's a makeup game that was supposed to be at Saginaw. So we're actually the away team, but we are going to be playing at home on campus. So those games will be at 2:30 and 4:30 tomorrow, or today actually, when this episode comes out. Thursday's recording Wednesday at 2:30 and 4:30. Go cheer on softball. And, I mean, what's going to be a great contest against a Cardinals team that I think we can really put up a really good game against, because I think right now we're in a really good spot, and we're in a position that we can make a jump now after beating Grand Valley, beating Davenport. That momentum can spring us forward.
I really think we can really make a splash here, especially with Saginaw tomorrow. Tomorrow or today, whatever it is you want to play it. April 7th, we'll say. But I think we're going to be pretty solid. We have a huge homestand coming up, which is going to be good for us, especially. I mean, it'll be fun for us for working it, which is going to be a blast. But I think to really set off the homestand well is going to be solid, especially since, it can really kind of give us a little bit of a streak to go ahead. We've been able to, play solid against Grand Valley, who was, projected to not even lose a game in the GLIACs this year, and we were able to beat them 8-3. And then Davenport, too, who's a really competitive team, beat them 11-3. So only time will tell what we're able to do. But I think with the home field is really solid. we have one of the deepest fields in the GLIAC, so that's going to be something that can even the playing field for some of these visiting teams who can really rely on the long ball. But I think the big thing is kind of focusing on the small ball too, that other teams will inevitably play. I can't remember which teams are more inept to do that, but just making sure we're able to really make no mistakes on the infield is going to be the big thing, because especially with those slap hitters and those bunters and the fast teams that we're going to be able to see is going to be the thing that's kind of going to set a lot of teams apart. We're a fast team as well. We're not usually too much of a small ball team. We're able to kind of open up the field with some big hits and be able to kind of do that, but being able to capitalize when runners are on base as well as coming out and being solid on the defensive side is going to be the key to victory.
Yeah, and I think with us, going into a team against a team like Saginaw that was a really good team last year. They ended up, I believe, being seeded 4th overall in the GLIAC tournament at the end of the year. But right now they're in a position, they're 2-2, they're 16-10 on the year. That's really flipped a record of us, and I know that's obviously a 6-game gap, but right now we've been playing such great, and we beat teams. We beat Grand Valley. We weren't supposed to beat Grand Valley. We weren't supposed to be close against Grand Valley, and we ended up getting one from them, and we beat Davenport, who is ahead of us on the standings right now. So there's plenty to look forward to, and especially having an away game at home is such an advantage too, right? It's a really unique element to the schedule, but you can use that momentum, really dial it in, and be able to roll through, because, we're going right through Saginaw, and then we're going to be right back at it over the weekend against Parkside. So that's being able to get that momentum transferred over and turn splits into sweeps, and then that's going to really propel us up the standings.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing is we have that turf infield, which I think is the main separator for why we can't really play at Saginaw, because they have the dirt infield, and I think the only other team that has a turf infield, I think, is Davenport, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say that's right.
I know their baseball field has a dirt infield, but I can't remember what their softball field is like. But I think that's going to really set us apart, especially since April is a pretty unpredictable month. I guarantee we'll probably have at least 2 more weeks of just really bad weather, I'd say. So I think if we're able to I think we'll probably be able to switch a couple more. We'll have away games at home, which is going to be pretty clutch, seeing that we'll be able to kind of be where we're at. We'll, have that homestand feel, which will be solid. It'll be an away game on the scoreboard, but still, being at home is a whole different ball game than when you got to go on the bus for a few hours and kind of ride that out and be able to experience that, which is a lot nicer when you just got to wake up in a bed that you're comfortable with and you're familiar with, and just walk over to the facilities and just play softball, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's going to be hard in the weather, but we can get the pitching and we can get the fielding consistent. Our offense has been hot. We've had 12 extra base hits in the last 4, including 5 home runs. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they can translate that over this week. And I think the bats will definitely translate over, because it's going to be messy, especially in the field. Transfers is going to be really tough, but obviously being able to stay warm, being able to stay dry is going to be the name of the game, and that's going to be a struggle for the pitching aspect, but both teams are going to have to deal with that. That's the biggest thing, is you're not necessarily saying, oh man, the pitching's going to suck. It's yep, they're just going to suck too. We just got to be better than that, and that's the biggest thing going in.
Yeah, a big thing too is kind of just staying disciplined at the plate. There's a lot of times, against Lewis, where I saw that we were being a little bit too picky when we shouldn't have. Where it's a 3-2 count and it's a ball that's just barely off the outside. Umps are probably going to call that 9 times out of 10. You got to be able to kind of foul that off. Especially with the rain and stuff like that, pitchers might get a little bit wild. It's just making sure we stay calm and collected in the box to be able to really kind of keep them on their toes a little bit. If we're able to get those pitches that are those meatballs down the middle, the ball's going to slip. They're not going to be able to have as much control. But if you have those ones, really make them pay and be able to put it in play. And that's going to be the big thing, is staying disciplined at the box, taking what we're given and jumping on those opportunities, and just making sure we don't get too skittish over there and swing at pitches that we're not supposed to, but also battling at the box too.
Yes, put the ball in play, name of the game, get on base, get runs, win games.
Exactly.
Simple enough?
It's simple when you say it, but
it's way harder than that.
Why don't you just hit it every time? It's not that hard.
Yeah. We're the ones talking here. We're the scrubs that didn't make it out.
We're the high school wash-ups.
Yes, exactly. But track and field will also be in action. I'm actually going to be getting on a bus as this episode airs right now. That's why we have a little bit of a shorter episode. But we're going to be going to Louisville to the Jim Vargo Invite. A lovely Bellarmine. You might be familiar. They were the team that did not make the NCAA tournament for basketball this year, because they made the transition transition to D1, so a little familiarity there. But going to be a great meet, being able to have 2 days of quality racing. I know that there's going to be some great invite races on Friday, as well as some other great races on Saturday as well. A lot of our runners and field events are going to be doubling up over the 2 days, which is going to be great to get the work in. Hopefully the weather stays dry. Right now, it looks like we're going to be getting down there. It's going to be warm, 50, 60 degrees. And then the 2 days we're going to have a competition, it's going to be 40 and raining. And then once we leave, it's going to go back up to 60s. So Mother Nature's really throwing us a screwball here. Mm-hmm. Not even a curveball, a screwball. This is really messed up. But at the end of the day, being able to have that good quality competition out of state, it's always just a fun trip. And really, from the success that we saw across all platforms of competition over the last weekend at Michigan State, being able to roll that over. A lot of our field events throwers did really well in their first throws outdoors competitively. We had some really great things from the distance crew. I know personally a lot of PRs and improvements, especially some coming off of injury and first races outdoors in a while, like myself. A lot of great things to look forward to this weekend. And it's going to be high quality competition. There's going to be a lot of fast races and a lot of good competition. And we're really looking forward to the trip. And I think this is going to be a super, super good weekend, gearing up for a big one. And this will be a tune-up going into Bucknell, which is going to be where the real hammer is going to be dropped, because those races are going to be next level.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really cool to see what you guys are going to be able to do. I'm pretty excited to see what you guys are going to be able to do, especially carrying over that awesome performance from the team last week. So best of luck to you, Brandon. Best of luck to the runners.
Thanks. We pray for good weather. Please, why are we going to Kentucky when it's going to be 40 and raining? That's what it is here. But, it is what it is. You play the hand you're dealt. That's how euchre works. Unless you screw the dealer or you stack the deck. But anyway, we play fair here. I don't know, Joseph. I think you're a fair euchre player, right?
I'm pretty good at euchre, yeah.
All right, that's fair. I know some people that are not, but they don't need to be named names. But anyway, final sport here on the Ferris Sports Report: women's and men's tennis. Women going to be going to Eastern. That'll be on April 10th, as well as the men will be at home against Wisconsin Eau Claire. Good matchups for them. Non-conference, get a little bit out of the groove of the conference schedule here, and a little bit of a different vibe, because I think you get so geared into the conference, especially with a lot of these schedules like football and basketball and soccer, where you're just playing 10, 20, 30 games in a row against conference teams. It's good to kind of shake that up a little bit. And this is a great time for them to, I would really expect them to see maybe some different doubles partners, maybe a lot of different rearranging as far as matchups go, to get some of those younger players experience, maybe get some of the starters a day off, or just being able to experiment a little bit, tweak with some things just before you go down the stretch of competition tournament play, because that's where you're going to really want to be at high level. So, this is a really unique opportunity. I'm really excited to see what we see from Coach Doran and this team over this weekend.
Yeah, true. That's one thing that I really like about these non-conference matchups too, is just you get to see a lot more variety in the team and kind of what they're able to do with that. Because they're playing Wisconsin Eau Claire, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be really cool, and that's gonna be home too, correct?
I think it's listed as home. I know there was rumors of where it was going to be, or I'm not quite sure exactly. I'm assuming it's at home. It's going to be at 10 o'clock on Sunday, so obviously things can change. I think the biggest thing is, I think you mentioned it last week, or maybe it was on Tuesday, which if you haven't checked that show out, make sure you follow it in the feed below. That they're trying to get outside. And obviously the weather up here has been absolute garbage, so that could be potentially maybe where a move could be made. But at this point, I think you kind of stay at home and you stick to the script, and we'll get outside eventually. It's going to be tough with the weather.
Some point we will be able to. I don't know. It kind of depends. It just kind of goes year by year. Last year it was really nice for early on, early March, it was really nice, and it got we didn't really see much rain in April or anything. But this year now we haven't really had a day in April where there hasn't been rain.
Yep.
So it kind of just depends on each one. But regardless, out of conference matchup, it's going to be really good for both teams to kind of get a new fresh look from the teams that we're used to seeing. Because I don't think we've ever played this team before, have we?
I can't remember the past.
I can't remember the last time. So looking forward to see some shakeups, a little bit more different pairings and different play styles. So going to be a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this team does, especially with the potential changes that will be made, just based overall on based on overall what we've seen so far of the repetitive cycles. And, we've seen like the interchanges of like maybe one substituted in and maybe one gets shifted up. But I think you could see a whole shakeup here. I really do think you could, just because of the element of, like we mentioned, that breakup and being able to experiment a little bit with this not being as an important game. Obviously, you still want to win, but not as important of a game as non-conference, different than the GLIAC play. But those games will be on Sunday, and then you can follow along online or on the Facebook live stream of Ferris State Tennis. Should be good. But before we end the Ferris State Sports Report, quick reminder, Day for Dogs is coming up next week. Support all the athletic programs, being able to stay at a high level of athletics. This is what we need to keep going. The fundraising campaign really going to be crucial to a lot of the athletic programs, especially as we now build with the new cap and being able to get a lot of the new resources that we need to stay a high-level championship program in athletics as a whole.
I can't wait to see this cap, dude. It's gonna be awesome, and especially Day for Dogs. It's such a great experience. It's such a great event for all of our athletic programs, just to really get involved with the community, which is really awesome. So, come out, support.
Hit the donate button. Just couple bucks.
I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I'll sauce $1 or two.
Sauce $1 or two. Appreciate that $1 or two. But if everybody chips in $1 or two.
That's a lot of money.
We can make a real difference, and we can bring more natties and more championships back to Big Rapids and fill our trophy case. And that's what we want here. It's championship culture. So you can look on and on next week. It'll be April 13th is the day, and it'll certainly be epic on campus, and it's just going to be a wild time of donations. It really has been. And I know personally, having the perspective of being able to see a lot of this stuff come together as an athlete standpoint, I mean, it makes me more excited day in and day out to see a lot of this stuff expanding and being able to see the progress going on within, seeing the volleyball arena slowly shambling its way off the picture and now starting to get filled up and becoming a new space that's going to be so nice for us. And it's going to be just a huge bonus moving forward for this program, this town, this community, this college. It just makes everything that much better, Joe. And I think everybody will benefit from this because, I mean, there will be times where you're going to be able to use it and I'm going to be able to use it, and both of us aren't necessarily athletes. So I think that'll be super cool just to be like, as a working staff, to be able to have these new facilities, to be able to watch a lot of these games, and for fans as well, being able to watch volleyball in their own arena. It's going to be super cool.
Bro, the new arena, the floor looks sick. Have you seen the floor for that?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the dog collar and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, it's going to be a sick place, especially when school opens up next fall. It's going to be a really cool experience, especially for working in for athletics. Like, I get to be around it a lot, so it's going to be super cool. I want to go over and kind of see how the weight room's going so far, because I think you can still look down through like that window up top, but dude, it's still going to be sick.
Yeah, there's a hole that they've made between the rubber room and the volleyball arena. So you can actually, like, every time I go for 6 a.m. lift, I poke in there and see, like, oh, what's next? Oh, hey, they took that sheathing off. Hey, we're starting there. But rumor has it, or I believe next fall, it's supposed to be done, which I would hope so by volleyball season for the arena. But that might take a little bit longer. But as far as the weight room, the new training facilities, the new offices, sounds like for the fall is the shooting point.
I think too, like, especially right now, you can't really do too much work because it's raining so much, and especially like setting concrete and all and doing all that stuff. Luckily, we got kind of like the big walls up for at least the volleyball arena, and at least the cap is going to be covered. But it's still just, I think once the warm weather comes around, they're just going to hit the floor running and kind of really set that apart.
Yeah, it's going to be, stay patient, it'll come, but when it does come, it is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I was really hoping it'd be up this summer, so when I go in for like lips and stuff, it just gives you that whole new vibe of like, new season's coming, everything's changing.
But then that's the good thing is that when cross comes around though,
well, we should have it. It's good, and it's gonna be super cool. I'm really looking forward to it. But when we come back, golf is back, Masters is back,
baby.
Our picks and the playing field right after this. Are you looking for part-time or full-time work or a potential internship? Eagle Village could be the place for you. It is a great place to make the impact on the lives of youth and is a mission opportunity very close by to Ferris State University. I've worked there. It's a fantastic place. If you want to learn more, make sure to check out eaglevillage.org. Eagle Village, where potential soars.
Masters are upon us. fellas, and that's what we love to see. I love the Masters, one of my favorite times of the year. Always love Augusta, love Magnolia Lane, all of that good stuff. Some really, really great players coming up to this tournament as well, Brandon, that are catching my eye. I know some are catching yours. Par 3 contest is today. Some really great tournament play is going to be coming up in just a few short days as well. But where should we get started, Brandon? Player field, Par 3 contest, Tiger. What do we want to talk about?
I think we should start with the main news. I think would be the
big Tiger.
Yeah,
Tiger is coming back, baby. Love to see it. A lot of reports are saying he's looking phenomenal in his practice rounds. There was a lot of people watching him in those practice rounds. It was basically like he was on like the final round and he was going to win the Masters. Is how many people were there. But what a story as well. Almost had the chance to lose his leg at that car accident and then be able to come back so fast and play at the biggest stage of professional golf is incredible to see, and that's something that we're really looking forward to. I mean, I'm kind of hoping he does play. I know he's playing, but I think it's just a matter of just like what he was thinking of, if he's going to make the cut or whatever. And I think that's one of the speculations that a lot of people had on their minds was if he's going to play, he's only going to play if he knows he can succeed and he knows it's not going to be just like I'm here to play because I have the invite, But if he's looking great, that's a great sign.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is now that we don't know what Tiger's going to do. Like where he could end up being in the final round on the lead card, or he might miss the cut. We don't know because for this situation, I mean, and just the fact that he's here, the fact that he's in Augusta at this tournament after the horrific accident, and really like there was parts of his body, like I know his like according to the sources of like his X-rays and all the medical issues that occurred in that accident, like his ankle was shattered, his leg was broken. Like the fact that he's even like walking around and he's actually like doing everyday type things is impressive as enough, let alone playing golf at a championship caliber level based on what we've heard from this practice round. And that's just incredible to me. But I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of great players in this tournament that you'd probably see more likely as winning. If Tiger wins, I think the whole world might shut down for a whole day.
That would be crazy.
It would just be the most comeback story of the decade. And
Absolutely.
we're only in 2022. Hands down, it wouldn't even be close. I don't see how you could top that. But you got a lot of great cards coming in this tournament too. And I think that there's just a lot of great players that we're going to be able to watch.
There's some fan favorites that are going to be coming into this one that I'm pretty excited for. I mean, Kevin Kisner is one that I like. A lot of fans of Barstool Foreplay podcast will be watching him. Louis Oosthuizen is going to be able to try to make some redemption, still trying to chase a major win. I mean, you got Rory McIlroy, who's starting to really come into stride now in this season as well. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, a lot of big names are coming in. Bernard Langer as well. The old man is going to be trying to do something here, but he's just lights out and super consistent with what he's been able to do. But, I mean, there's a lot of guys who can really make some noise here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a lot of these pairings that we've seen already lined up as far as tee times is concerned. And I think one that I'm really looking forward to is you see, I think it's Group 28. It's like the 1:30 tee time. That's Dustin Johnson, Billy Horschel, and Colin Morikawa. I think you see a lot of potential, pretty much a powerhouse of the United States program. And I think you will look at like a young guy like Colin Morikawa that has been on the up and up and has gotten better every year. Dustin Johnson, who we can know win a tournament every single year, regardless of how he can play going into it. He's always in contention. And I think there's a lot of great players, too, down the list of as far as, like, younger talent, too. I mean, you got Xander Schauffele and Jordan Spieth, who are a little bit older as well.
Yeah, Tommy Fleetwood is in there, too.
Tommy Fleetwood, Zalatoris is in there. And there's just so many good players that, and like the young, like you would bet almost that a younger player is going to win this tournament just based on the loaded field that we have in this tournament as far as like the younger players. And I don't think there's been like this much confidence on the younger players going into the tournament, which is crazy because based on the storyline, it's like, yeah, we're going to see like Oosthuizen and Tiger Woods battle it out. Basically, almost is like the storyline we'd see here.
It's going to be
two comeback stories.
Yeah, it's going to be a great grouping for that 10:34 tee time. Some other ones that are kind of catching the eye. Scotty Scheffler and Tony Finau have one right after, or two groups after the Tiger Woods group. And then there's some other good ones as well. Bernard Langer is going to be with Cameron Davis out of Australia at 11:40, which will be a good one to watch. I mean, obviously they'll have extended extended coverage for everybody if you're just going to be tuning into the tournament. But this one's going to be pretty solid. Bubba Watson, one of my favorite golfers, is going to be in Group 24 at just after noon. They're going to be teeing off. Webb Simpson is going to be teeing off just before 1 o'clock. You got some other great ones as well. Just trying to look through some. Colin Morikawa and Dustin Johnson have been grouped together for Group 28. They'll be at 1:30, so a little bit later on in the day. Patrick Cantley and John Rahm and Will Zalatoris, that's a pretty star-studded one as well at 1:41. So obviously keep your eye out for a lot of these groups. Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland, and Xander Schauffele as well. So
that's
I know you like Xander Schauffele.
I love Xander Schauffele.
Jordan's trying to make a return to his reputation of being a major winner, but he hasn't won one in a while, so we'll see what he's able to do. But a pretty solid spread throughout the whole thing. I mean, I'm looking forward to see the old guys, Vijay Singh, Bernard Langer, Tiger Woods, a lot of those guys being able to kind of compete and play well. But overall, Masters Week is here, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I think there's like a lot of things that you watch for this weekend. Obviously, 1A, we're watching Tiger, seeing how he's doing, of course. 2, we're watching the young guys, seeing how they respond, especially when they could be carded together. Because I think this almost comes into a situation similar to like Duke in the national the Final Four in the basketball tournament. I feel like in this case of you have this whole storyline behind, and you're playing with such high pressure based on external circumstances of like I'm playing on Tiger's card, like I got to play good because there's going to be 50,000 people following me on the course, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be that added pressure to it because, I mean, you look at a lot of these guys.
Everybody's going to be following Tiger.
Yeah, everybody's going to be following Tiger. So based off of that, like how are Louis Oosthuizen and Joaquin Niemann going to play? How are they going to be able to do in that grouping with Tiger? How are they going to respond to that pressure? Are they going to thrive under it? Or are they going to dive from it? That's the biggest thing. And I think there's a couple of different things you can obviously look forward to. And I think the biggest one that I just learned like this other day is like they actually took par the 11th hole and they made it longer. It's 15 yards longer now at 520, which is the start to Amen Corner. So that's a tough stretch going in that turnaround to the back nine. And now you got a change coming up where 15 yards is 15 yards, but
yeah,
I mean that's a whole club length because I know like personally I have some feelings from going from a 5-iron to a 6-iron in kind of a similar scenario, and there's gonna be guys that are gonna have to switch clubs, and based off of how they feel on that club, it can be a little bit of a factor.
Yeah, and it's not like it's going to be anything drastic. I mean, they're pretty much locked down with everything, but I mean, it might be the difference of, hey, I can put my 5-iron like 2 feet within the hole, but my 6-iron I'm a little bit less confident with. It might be a 4 or 5 foot putt that I have to make after that, which is, the world of difference. I mean, the amount of slope and the degree and stuff that changes just off those 1 or 2 feet putts that you have to make can really make the difference for a lot of things. And I think that's the one thing too that we're going to be really watching out for is a lot of the changes in the course, what players are going to kind of choose with their club choice and what they want to do with that. It's going to be a big thing too, but I'm just excited to see kind of the competition that we're going to be able to look at. Tiger's 46 years old, so he's getting up there. He's got a chance to really make a statement here. I'm hoping that he makes the cut. I'm hoping that he plays really solid day one because I think if he doesn't make the cut, then it's going to be a little bit disappointing for a lot of people. And I think he'll probably be a little bit disappointed too because, I mean, Tiger's a competitor. He doesn't show up to lose. And every time that he does miss the cut, it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that he's here, or I say here, like he's here in studio with us, but at Augusta, I think proves enough people that he's serious about this. And I would agree with you. Like, Tiger holds himself to a high standard as one of the greatest athletes of all time, not just golfers. He said he's one of the great athletes. And we know about him, his self-character on what he loves. And I mean, that, the famous joke at the President's Cup where he selected himself as captain and picked himself first. He believes in himself. And the fact that he's
a confident fellow.
Yeah, and the fact that he's at Augusta, and the fact that he's going to be making a go at it means he's going to win. Because we've seen him when he's not fully confident, he'll pull out. And we're like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Is it his back problems or what's going on? And he's just saying like, yeah, I'm not ready to fully win this tournament because of his greatness. He wants to get those victories and he wants to keep proving his legacy. And finish just squeaking into a tournament to finish 50th isn't going to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going in, you're going for gold, you're going all in. And we've seen Tiger do that throughout his entire career, where he was the guy, especially at a young age, that was in the position many times to be, if he can go for the shot and get a couple strokes back, he's going to be at a chance. Where we've seen the highlight reels, right? Tiger to the artist, Tiger to the engineer, that you can see on YouTube of all the shots that, I should not probably do this, but I'm going to take this risk and I'm going to go for it. I'm going all in or nothing. And that's the similar aspect that I see him going with. And I mean, he's going to probably have to pull off some shots with this Masters course being a little bit longer this year. So that's going to be very interesting to see other guys too that can really crush the golf ball. Bryson DeChambeau, especially being one of them, how they respond with this longer course. But did you also see that Dude Perfect video that they made with the All Sports Golf at the Masters?
Yeah, they were at the Masters.
Holy smokes! How in the world did you pull that off?
That was
super
video.
cool.
A good video.
Just be like, my goodness. Could you imagine how much money they made off a sponsorship for that video?
Crazy amount.
Holy smokes, dude! Just the fact they got Bryson DeChambeau to play All Sports Golf with them at the Masters on Augusta's course.
The week of, too. Like, that's crazy.
That is nuts. Do you think they did it the week of, though? I feel like they had to have done it before.
Because they probably did it last week.
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks ago.
But, I mean, still, Bryson is there probably a week or two in advance practicing and stuff.
Yeah. They like, you have to, right? There's no way that would feel like, for me, if I was in that scenario, like, the week of, I'm dialing in, no distractions. Like, I want to be on the course. I want to be shooting specific shots. I want to just be tuning up at that point where, it's good to have fun and all, but you have like those like, is that going to take you out of competitive edge or competitive balance and that schedule and that routine and the superstition, everything that you need to do to be successful. So, I mean, that was a sweet video. I'm so glad they did that because I think that brought awareness of golf to a whole nother level, a whole new generation of people. Really with a lot of media now, the younger age are getting so susceptible to watching a lot of these like this on these platforms of YouTube and all these streaming services that they're not necessarily like really put out into the world the same way as like what me and Joe grew up with, so, like being really transparent. Like we would go out, like what would you do as a child? Like you'd probably go out and play golf, right? Like first thing, if you had a chance in high school, like you had a day off of school, whatever, you would go play golf.
Yeah, like golf or like fish or something like that.
Yeah, do something like that where now like it feels like the younger generations are going home to watch people playing golf or
it's kind
fishing.
Of changed a little bit where it's kind of more of like it's more of like an indulgence rather. It's like an indulgence of content rather than like an indulgence of experiences.
Yeah. And the point I'm trying to get to this is like that crossover right there. I think inspires people. Like, yeah, that's really cool. Like that's what cool Bryson did. Maybe I should do that go out and play golf with my buddies again and be able to introduce that back to the young audience because I feel like that's falling apart. But either way, green jacket on the line. It's Augusta. It's the best week in all the year.
Who's your early pick? Who's your snake draft pick?
My snake draft pick. Oh man, that's a tough one. I really feel like this could be a year for a younger star. I think that if I were to bet on somebody right now to win, I would have to say I would be on the boat of Jon Rahm, honestly.
Yeah?
I think he would be one of the best guys that I would feel confident in picking. I think there's some other guys that can definitely put up a fight. But I'm going to be watching guys like Morikawa and Koepka and those guys that have really been playing consistently well over the past couple of years. And I think that this could be really just waiting for the breakout. And I think that's for a lot of these young stars, especially my boy Xander Schauffele as well. I'll be following along. But I think it's going to go to a young guy this year. I just don't know why.
Yeah.
She's got a little bit of a feeling about it. I don't know why. Just kind of the passing the torch with Tiger coming back. The storyline fits. Obviously, storylines don't always work out. Coach K and Duke. But it just kind of feels that way right now.
Hey, I mean,
who you got?
If I go up against your gut, I think I'll be right because every time that you chose against your gut, that's usually
true.
the right
choice. You can go against me and pick
I'm liking Dustin Johnson. I think he's going to be a competitor. I think that's kind of a pretty easy one to make since he's been, very competitive every major that he's been playing in. I don't know, but for some reason, Tommy Fleetwood's sticking out to me. I know it's probably not going to work, but just for some reason, I like Tommy Fleetwood. I like, his short game ability is really impressive. I mean, DeChambeau's probably going to set himself apart on those par fives. However, they're not really open like some of those other courses where he's really been able to set himself apart. So if he does shank it or play, or get that every once in a while slice or whatever, it might be proving detrimental for him. So I think he's got to make that choice of either going crazy or kind of staying a little bit more conservative. So we'll see with that. But I mean, those two are kind of the ones that are sticking out to me. I think also I might have to go with Jon Rahm as well. He's a guy who, homie did skip it across the water and make a hole in one.
Ace on 16.
Ace on 16 was pretty sick. So I think he's feeling comfortable with this one. So Jon Rahm, Tommy Fleetwood for some reason, and then Dustin Johnson.
All right, there you go.
3 that you got to watch out for.
All right, now I would also, so I'll pick, based off of that, then I'll go with the ones that you should watch would include Xander Schauffele, Brooks Koepka, and Colin Morikawa is mine. I believe the favorite right now is John.
And I mean, of course, Tiger Woods. You got to watch him.
Oh, of course.
We'll see how he goes on the first day.
Yeah, I think the favorite, as of the betting favorite right now, is John Rahm, and second is actually Cameron Smith, the Australian man. He's had 3 top finishes, I believe, at Augusta. So I mean, right now he could be in a really good position to be on. That's a guy that kind of fell under my radar actually.
For sure.
So
yeah,
a lot of good golf coming up. Yep. I'm gonna be looking forward. I'm gonna be watching it all week long.
Purse is at 11.5 mil. So if you make the cut, you're expecting a pretty big payday.
I would hope
coming your way. So hopefully a lot of these guys can play well and make the cut and bring that bag in.
Win of a lifetime. It can change your life.
It really could.
One golf tournament.
See what these amateurs can do if they make that. If they make that cut, dude, that's a pretty fat check.
Wins it? Is this the year an AM wins it?
I don't know. When's the last time an amateur won the Masters?
I actually don't know the answer to that. That would be pretty insane.
An amateur won the Masters.
Google search. Enter.
No amateur has ever won the Masters, but a few have come close. In 1947, Frank Stranahan finished tied second, 2 shots behind the winner, Jimmy Demaret. In 1954, Billy Joe Patton finished 1 stroke out of the lead from Sam Snead, Ben Hogan playoff.
Wow.
Dang.
That's a legendary group to be behind like guys like Ben Hogan, man.
Yeah, and Sam
who literally
Snead
have their name etched on Augusta forever.
Exactly. That's crazy.
That is nuts,
Maybe
man.
this will be the year. Who knows?
Maybe this is the year.
St. Peter's making it to the Elite Eight. I think this is the year.
Amateur wins the Masters. It goes hand in hand.
This has got to go for it.
But it's going to be a blast. Me and Joe will be following along. And we appreciate all of you for following along to the show as we wrap up once again here on April 7th. We appreciate you tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe. Follow on all your favorite podcast platforms, social media platforms. We're on almost all of them. We do apologize. We've been falling behind a little bit on YouTube. We've had some things coming up and here and there, and we're just busy.
Just been getting a little bit busy. So hopefully you guys can kind of, stick with us for that, especially with kind of the school year winding down a little bit, getting internships already. I mean, we're going to be seniors next year, so that's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're getting old, Joe.
Dude, seems just like yesterday we first met in that Com 101 class.
Yeah, it seems like it, man. It's just been too long. All the people out there that keep telling me I'm not old, stop. I feel old, okay? I know I'm not as old as you, and that has the right to you tell me I'm young, but still, when I get out of bed and my bones are aching in the morning, I have a right to say
your knees are sore when you go to bed.
Yes, exactly. People know what I'm talking about. But if you're a YouTube fan, we will catch up to you. But if you want that guarantee, go and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You won't miss a thing while we catch it up. But until next time, guys.
Take care, everybody.